This happened just a few months ago during spring semester. I'm a geology major at Arizona State, and we had this optional field study trip planned out in the Sonoran Desert. It was one of those things you could do for extra credit and real-world experience. And to be honest, I mostly signed up because I wanted to get out of the city for a bit. There were 7 of us students, 2 TAs, and 1 professor. We camped out in a dry area near an old fault line, took seismic readings during the day, and mapped the topography. Pretty straightforward. We had beer to log data on minor tremors and underground movement, using a kind of compact portable scanner tied to a tablet. On day 3, I was out alone on the northern perimeter. The sun was going down and the temperature had already dropped about 15 degrees, which happens fast in the desert. I was about to wrap up and head back to camp when I noticed a weird reading on my tablet. The device was picking up a looping signal, almost rhythmic. It wasn't strong, more like a vibration every few seconds, but it was definitely coming from one spot about 200 yards north of me, near a dry ravine. I followed it out of curiosity. I wasn't too far from camp, and I had a flashlight and full battery, so I figured I'd investigate for a minute or two. The terrain got rougher, with small ridges and loose rock, until I came to this drop. A sort of shallow ravine, maybe 20 feet across. At the center of it, I saw something strange. There was a circular patch of disturbed earth, almost too perfect to be natural. The surrounding sand was undisturbed, but this one patch had fine cracks, like something had either been covered up or recently unearthed. At the center was a long, thin slit in the ground, maybe 2 feet wide. It didn't look like a normal crack or sinkhole. It was clean, straight, man-made or something else. As I stepped closer, the vibration in the tablet intensified, pulsing steadily now. Then without warning, it stopped. Dead silence. I turned off the tablet, thinking maybe it was a hardware glitch. That's when I heard the whisper. At first, I thought it was the wind, but there wasn't any. The desert was dead still. The whisper had a tone to it, almost like a voice under breath, but the words weren't English, or anything, really. It was sound without language. I leaned forward, shining my flashlight down the crack. The beam barely penetrated. It was too narrow. I picked up a small rock and dropped it in. It didn't clink off any surface. Just silence, no bottom. I started backing away, feeling that internal alert kicking in, the kind that makes your stomach clench. As I turned around, I caught something, movement, out of the corner of my eye, on the ridge above. I looked. There was someone standing there. But the weird part? He was standing the exact same way I was. Same lean, same tilt. I shifted to my left. He shifted. I raised my arm. He raised his. At first, I thought I was seeing my reflection, but there was no glass, no water, no screen. The figure was copying me, yes, but not instantly. There was a delay, like watching yourself lag on a video call. And he was too thin, his arms longer than they should have been, his outline just wrong enough to snap me out of denial. I bolted. I didn't care about the gear or the sample bags I dropped. I didn't even check the incline as I scrambled up and out of the ravine. I didn't look back. I ran until my lungs hurt and I saw the firelight from our camp. Back at base, everyone was sitting around eating freeze-dried noodles. I pretended I'd gotten lost. Nobody questioned it. But that night, I didn't sleep. I lay in my tent with my flashlight on, listening to the desert breathe, half expecting to see that long, thin version of myself staring back from the flap. The next morning, I went back to the spot with my TA. I acted like I'd left my soil sensor behind and wanted to retrieve it. We got to the ravine, but the crack? Gone. I mean it. There was no sign of disturbed earth, no patch, no line in the dirt. Just wind-blown sand like nothing had ever been there. Even weirder, the coordinates I'd saved in the tablet? Deleted. The app log showed nothing. It was like the signal and everything I'd seen never existed. That would have been it. Maybe I could have chalked it up to heat exhaustion or desert psychosis or whatever. But ever since that day, I haven't felt alone. I see things now. Or maybe I sense them. I'll be in my dorm bathroom and feel movement behind me, like a delayed reflection. When I pass by store windows at night, I swear I see myself moving slightly out of sync. The worst was last week. I was walking past a row of parked cars and saw myself in the reflection of a dark window. Except I wasn't wearing the same clothes. And when I raised my hand, the reflection didn't move. It just stared. And here's the part I haven't told anyone. I started recording myself at night. I wanted proof I wasn't imagining things. I left my phone propped up on my desk, camera facing my bed. First few nights, nothing. Then, about 5 days ago, I got something. At exactly 3:14 a.m., there's movement on the footage. The room is pitch black, but the phone's low light mode caught it. A tall, thin silhouette standing just inside the doorway. For 10 seconds, it doesn't move. Then slowly, like gliding, it walks forward and stands at the foot of my bed. It never looks directly at the camera, but its arms hang long and straight, almost too long for its frame. At 3:16, the figure turns and walks backward, leaving the frame. I didn't wake up once. I still haven't told anyone about the video. I deleted it, actually. I couldn't stand the thought of it being on my phone. What scares me most isn't that it was there. It's that when I watched it again the next morning, it moved exactly the way I do. The same gait, the same head tilt, like it was learning. Whatever I found in that ravine wasn't just a fluke. It was a signal, and I think I answered it. This happened last summer, in July, in the middle of one of the worst heat waves California's had in years. My girlfriend Allison and I had been going through a rough patch, fighting constantly, stupid tension building up over small stuff. Instead of breaking up, we figured maybe we just needed to get away. Somewhere private, somewhere without distractions, no cell signal, no work emails, just us. We rented this tiny off-grid Airbnb trailer outside Borrego Springs. Solar power, no Wi-Fi, one road in, one road out. It looked like a cheap indie horror movie set, but that was part of the charm. At least it was supposed to be. The first day was fine. Weirdly quiet. The desert hums in this way that messes with your brain a little. No traffic, no electricity buzzing, just the wind and your thoughts. We sat under this aluminum awning drinking lukewarm beer, listening to the silence. It was uncomfortable at first, then peaceful. The second night, we decided to go for a drive after dinner, just to cool off, literally and emotionally. It was still around 90 degrees after sunset, and our little trailer didn't have AC. We figured a drive with the windows down would help. We'd been out maybe 15 minutes, driving slow, scanning the sky for stars, when we saw it. A car, parked on the side of the road just up ahead. Nothing unusual about that until we got closer. It was our car. I know that sounds impossible, but I mean it looked exactly like our car. Same make, same color, same little dent on the left rear panel where I clipped a shopping cart 3 months ago. Same novelty license plate frame. Same bumper sticker that reads, "Not all who wander are lost, but I definitely am." Allison sat up and leaned forward. "Is that?" I slowed down. We pulled up beside it, headlights washing over the dusty body. It was absolutely identical. Except we were sitting in our car, which meant this couldn't be. I parked and stepped out. The desert air wrapped around me like hot silk. Allison stayed inside watching. I approached the car slowly, flashlight in hand. The windows were tinted, but not dark enough to block the light completely. The driver's seat was empty. So was the passenger side. But the dashboard was glowing. The ignition was on. I looked closer. There were items in the center console that were exactly like ours. A worn-out phone charger, a pack of gum I remembered buying at a gas station in San Diego, and a half-empty bottle of sunscreen wedged under the emergency brake. My breath went shallow. I stepped around to the trunk and froze. The license plate was the same. Exactly the same. "Allison," I called, trying not to let my voice shake. "Come look at this." She got out, squinting against the flashlight beam. "This isn't funny," she said immediately. "How did this? What the hell is this?" I had no answers. We walked together to the back where I tried the trunk. It opened without resistance. Inside were two bags, a black duffel and a red backpack. They looked exactly like our bags. We opened the backpack first. Inside was Allison's favorite flannel, the same one she was wearing. An extra charger, her deodorant, even the same scrunchie she kept losing and finding again every few days. The duffel was worse. It was mine, same brand, same fading on the logo. Inside, my hoodie, the paperback copy of Pet Sematary I'd brought with me, and a disposable camera we'd been using to document the trip, the exact same one. I started backing away. I wanted to throw up. That's when we heard it, a click. We spun around. The driver's side door had opened. No one stepped out. No one was inside. Just the creak of metal, swinging slightly in the breeze that hadn't been there a second ago. And then the car's radio turned on. Static, then a voice. I swear to God it was mine. But not just someone with a similar voice. It was my voice saying something I couldn't make out, like a recording played backward. The cadence, the inflection, me. I stepped back again and accidentally kicked a rock, which clattered loudly in the silence. The voice stopped. The headlights flicked on. That broke the trance. "Allison, get in the car." We ran back to ours, which was still idling. We slammed the doors shut, locked them, floored it. I didn't even check the mirrors. We didn't talk for a long time, maybe 20 minutes. The road was empty. No turns, no intersections, just straight black asphalt slicing through nothing. When we finally hit a crossroad, I pulled over at a dusty rest stop to breathe. There were two other cars in the lot, normal looking. I didn't care. I just needed to get a grip. That's when Allison whispered, "Do not look to the right." But I already had. It was there. The same car, same dent, same license plate. Parked 2 spots away, perfectly aligned. No one inside, no one nearby. It hadn't followed us. It had been waiting. We drove back to the Airbnb without another word. I didn't sleep that night. I sat up on the edge of the bed, staring at the curtains, expecting headlights. Allison didn't sleep either. We left the next morning before sunrise. Didn't tell the host, didn't pack half our stuff. Just got in the car and drove until we hit a Starbucks. The only weird thing? The disposable camera we'd used the whole trip, the one we had with us, was gone. I figured we must have left it behind, but a week later, we got an envelope in the mail. No return address, just a film roll. Developed. Dozens of photos. Of us, sleeping, standing in the desert. One from the back seat of our car, looking at the back of our heads while we drove. The last photo? A blurry close-up of my own face. Except my eyes were closed, and I swear to God, I wasn't there when it was taken. I deliver food full-time. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills, and I like driving at night. No traffic, no people, just me and the road. I've done DoorDash, Uber Eats, all of them. You pick up weird habits though, like always double-checking addresses, never going inside gated properties, and never ever accepting cash jobs outside the app. There's a lot of shady stuff out there. But nothing like this. It was a Thursday night, around 10:30. I was working the outskirts of Tucson, where the houses start thinning out into dry brush and dirt roads. Most of the time, those areas are dead. No restaurants, no deliveries. But that night, I got a ping. $42 delivery. One item. That's not normal. The order didn't have a restaurant name. Just said private drop-off, customer will meet outside. The address was a pin, not a number. It was flagged as a manual location. Against my better judgment, and because rent was due, I accepted it. The GPS loaded and showed a straight route leading off the paved road onto a gravel path, about 6 miles out from where I was. No nearby buildings, just one lonely dot on the map. I thought maybe it was a new build, or a cabin. People do weird off-grid setups all the time. I picked up the food, a small brown paper bag from a 24-hour taco joint. The receipt just said one item with no details. Already weird. I drove. The last 3 miles weren't even roads anymore, just sand and rock. My tires kicked up dust and my headlights barely showed 10 feet ahead. There were no lights, no houses, no cars. Just cacti and scrub brush and the kind of silence that gets into your ears. Then out of nowhere I saw it. A house. 1 story, wood exterior. Looked old, like it had been there 100 years. The porch light was on. A single bulb flickering slightly. A windmill spun behind it, even though I couldn't feel any wind. No driveway, no visible cars, but the app chimed, "You've arrived." I slowed to a stop. For a minute, I just sat there with the engine running, bag in my lap, staring. Then the porch light blinked twice, like a signal. I got out. The ground was bone dry and the air smelled like rust. I stepped onto the porch and knocked once. The wood creaked under me like it hadn't held weight in decades. No answer. I knocked again. Nothing. I called out, "Delivery." Silence. I bent down to leave the bag. That's when I noticed it. The wood beneath the doormat was scorched. Not burned, but blackened, like it had been exposed to intense heat long ago. I straightened up, and the door creaked open, just a few inches, slowly, like it was inviting me. I didn't step in. Hell no. I left the bag and backed away, hands up. As I walked off the porch, I turned around one last time. The door was wide open now, still no one there. I got in my car, locked the doors, reversed fast, and started driving back the way I came. I drove for 5 minutes before checking the GPS again to see if I'd cleared the location. It still said, "You've arrived." I refreshed the app. Same result. I stopped the car and got out. I looked around, expecting maybe poor signal or a location glitch. But when I turned back, the house was there again. Right in front of me. Same porch light, same windmill, same open door. I had driven away. I swear I had. The trail behind me had shifted, but the house hadn't moved. It was just there again. I got back in the car and floored it, heart pounding. The terrain was rough, and I could barely see through the cloud of dust, but I didn't stop. Not until I reached the paved road again. Once I hit civilization, the GPS returned to normal. The app said, "Delivery complete, tip pending." No record of the customer's name, no option to rate them, just gone. I tried to forget about it. I didn't tell anyone. How do you even explain something like that? But a week later, I got another ping. Same area, same delivery service, same format. Private drop-off, customer will meet outside. I declined it instantly. Then I got a text from an unknown number. It said, "Please, you already know the way." I blocked the number, uninstalled the app, took a few days off. But the weirdest part came next. When I went to check my dashcam footage, something I always save after long shifts, it was blank, just static, for the entire hour surrounding the delivery. All other footage before and after, perfectly fine. That night, I dreamed of the house, but it wasn't empty. Something was standing in the doorway, tall and still and wrong. Its arms were too long, its skin pale like dry leather. And its mouth was open wide, far wider than it should have been, like it was swallowing the light from the porch bulb. When I woke up, there was dirt on the floor by my bed. And on my phone, a new delivery notification from an app I hadn't reinstalled. Same address. This time it just said, "Return what you took." I don't know what it means. I don't remember taping anything. But I haven't accepted a single order since. And sometimes when I look outside at night, I see a flickering light in the distance, and it's getting closer. Something's watching, learning, getting closer. Comment your theory before it finds you. And whatever you do, subscribe. Because once you hear the story, it hears you back.